Hi everyone, and welcome to Back Chat. Welcome to Yoga Berry, your yoga for scoliosis community. Thank you so much, as always, for joining. Now it is Wednesday afternoon here in the UK. If you are joining me live, or if you are, chances are that you're probably watching this on the replay right now. But just to let you know that we're doing this on Wednesdays. If you ever have any questions or you want to join us live in the chat, then you can do that. And so this week I've got a guest again, and I'm going to introduce her in a moment. But I just wanted to let you know that next week I'm going to do a little bit of a live practice. So I'm going to do something slightly different. We're going to work on upper back, shoulder and neck release that has been requested. So we'll do about kind of probably 20 to 30-minute session. And then you can basically bring your questions as well for that. So make sure to make a note of it if you want to be there live, if you want to join us for that. I'm teaching a workshop for those of you who are close by to me, probably not if you are on the other side of the world. If you are in Argentina or in the US, that might be a little bit far. But if you are close to Surrey in the UK, I'm teaching a workshop, a Yoga for Scoliosis workshop on the 17th of July, a couple of weeks' time. Full day workshop, and yes, we go into all the nitty-gritty of yoga for scoliosis. I'm hoping to see some of you there. A few have already booked in, and I'm going to have limited spaces there, so make sure to book yourself in. So hi Glenys, she's saying hello, Christine. So as always, feel free to join into the conversation, and I'm going to bring on our guest today. So today I've got the lovely Helen from My Pilates Tribe here, and she is going to tell us about her scoliosis journey. And we actually met through the Scoliosis Association in the UK. So we had a great exercise class not too long ago, which was all filmed by the BBC. So it was all very exciting. And I thought it would be lovely to connect in this way and hear about her story as well. So let me bring her on. There she is. Hi, Helen.
Hi, Christine. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for making the time, obviously, to chat with me as well.
That's great. It's great. And I think it's really important for us to kind of share our stories and just make everybody feel like we're part of the same, big community. So
yes, yeah, absolutely, and never underestimate, obviously, who you're helping right now, just by you don't even for others out there, you don't even have to have lots of amazing knowledge about scoliosis to be here. I think it's important just to talk about it and to inspire other people. You never know in what way, of course.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Good. So why don't we kind of dive straight into when did your scoliosis journey, when did it start? When were you first diagnosed?
Okay, so it's a bit of a confusing story, I guess. So I noticed in my 20s, so I'm 46 in a few weeks, and in my 20s, I noticed, like a lot of people would do, that my trousers weren't hanging straight. I noticed that one side of my waist went in whilst the other side was straight down. And I thought that was really weird, but never in a million years would I have thought it was something to do with my spine. I was too interested in going out and partying and having fun with my friends. And I just thought it was a bit weird, but I never really thought too much about it. And then I started to get back pain. And I remember going to see an osteopath. And the osteopath told me that I had scoliosis, which I'd never heard of. Then went away and, tried to figure out what that meant. And he actually told me to get back to my GP and have an x-ray. So I had an x-ray, but it wasn't a great x-ray. It wasn't a full spinal. It was kind of that one where they cut you in half, so you never really can see what's going on. And I got referred for some physio. I had a bit of physio, and then that was the end of it. And I was just kind of left to get on with it. There was no follow-up. There was no, you're under the care of anybody. There was no question of how serious it might be. And definitely no mention of cob angles or, you know, what the curve even looked like. So then I kind of fast forward, I had a baby in my 30s, and I went through my 30s without too much bother. And I found Pilates around just before I had my son, actually. So he's just coming up 13. So probably about 14 years ago, I found Pilates, and I just found it to be a really great practice for me, and found that it really helped with my back pain. And I just really, really enjoyed it. And I used to come away feeling taller and just better about life. So, so that was kind of through my 30s. And then really, it was a couple of years ago that the pain just started to really come back, and it was really just dragging on. And I thought, I'm going to go back to the GP because I really want to understand more about this. And, you know, I knew it was a progressive condition that can get worse. So I went back to the GP, and he basically said, we can't help you. We won't make any referrals for you. I can send you to the pain clinic, but that's about it. So it was really, really unhelpful. So I actually went and sought a load of advice on my own. I've spent a lot of time, effort, money, seeing lots of different people to try and, you know, just help myself really. But I ended up going down the private route to actually have a full spinal x-ray. And at that point I was diagnosed. So it was actually in October 2020. So really in the middle of the first wave of COVID. Yeah.
Yes.
And that was when I heard cob angle for the first time. So it was 61 degrees, thoracolumbar. So quite a big curve, you know, that goes across the thoracic and lumbar spine. And he told me that was pretty severe, and that surgery could potentially be an option for me, which I was like, I don't want surgery unless I really, really have to have surgery. At this point, I had trained as a Pilates instructor as well. So I'm kind of jumping all over the place here. So
let me just to go back to this. So the GP said we can't do anything.
Yeah, the GP kind of looked at my notes from 15 years earlier and could see, oh yeah, you have a scoliosis. But I asked for a referral to see an orthopedic surgeon, because what I really wanted more than anything was for somebody to sit down and explain to me what was going on in my body. So, you know, where is the curve? What's happening with it? What does it mean? Why does this hurt? Why does that hurt? How does it impact on other joints? And obviously mentally as well, it has an impact. Anyway, so and that just wasn't available to me. All they wanted to offer, they sent me off for a couple of physio sessions. I went along and they gave me Pilates exercises, which I'd been doing for like 10 years. So it was really helpful. But it was silly little things. Like when I saw the physio, I kind of asked, is it okay for me to run? Because I was really into running at the time. And, you know, can you recommend, is there a sleeping position that I should favour? You know, should I sleep on my back, on my side? What about mattress? What about a pillow? You know, who do you ask these questions to? You know, it just feels like in the UK, it feels like it's a really under-resourced kind of subject area. And then I found Instagram, and there's lots of information, but you really have to go and look for it, I think. So, so yes. Anyway, back to the GP. The GP was not very helpful, so that's why I ended up just doing my own research, finding a consultant at private hospital and going for a consult there and doing it that way. And then he referred me back to the NHS. So I'm now
so that's I find that just you know, mind blowing really, that if you add with a 61 degree cob angle, which is a severe curvature, right?
Yeah.
If you're getting dismissed,
I know.
And like we cannot help you, there's so many other people, right, where it's just like and then what then I find even more amazing, that you go down the private route, which not everyone has the opportunity to do, right? So there's a lot of people that cannot do this. And then it's basically straight from we cannot do anything about it to, well, we can do surgery. There's nothing in between.
No, nothing in between. No. So, yeah. And I think it was around that time that I, was just, well, what can I do to help myself? And I came across articles about Shroth, and I read up a bit about that. But again, really hard to find anybody that is trained and qualified in Shroth near me. And I'm in Surrey as well, different part to you. But I couldn't find anybody. It was, you'd have to go into London. Well, London's an hour away. I don't want to go in on the train for an hour to, so it was very frustrating. It really did feel like it was, there wasn't much support out there really. But more than anything, I just wanted to understand the mechanics of what was going on in my body really. So that was probably the thing that I was most searching for at that time. And understanding, I was probably a bit hung up on cob angles as well, just because I didn't know what it was. And I knew I had a curve, but I was like, well, how bad is it? Is it bad, or is it just a little curve? And, I'm feeling this pain. So, yeah.
Yes. So tell me kind of did you have back pain, by the way, at that time?
Yeah, I've always had varying degrees, but yeah, for me, my curve is out to the left, and I get all my pain around the curve. So it's all in the muscles. So it's all, where it rotates and it brings things forward. That's where all my pain is kind of in that zone. And I also suffer a bit in my hip flexors as well. So, it's all linked. So, but
so tell me all the things then that you tried. So you know that you've got scoliosis, confirmed, obviously, borderline surgery range. What was your reaction, and what sort of what did you then try and explore?
So I guess through my sort of 20s and 30s, I tried everything. So I tried the osteopath, was the first place that I tried, and that was for back pain. And then I saw a chiropractor for a while. Then I got the referral through the GP to physio. She was actually really, really good, but I only had however many sessions with her. So that was really great. Then I took a break from it because I just seemed to have a period with no real pain. And then when it started to come back again, I kind of went down the same road of just trying to fix the problem. So seeing, again, I tried chiropractors and I tried physios, and these were all, through people that I just found locally. But again, there's not really anybody that's specialized in scoliosis. So I didn't really feel like they necessarily knew the best way to help me. And then I did lots of Google searching, trying to find somebody a bit more specific, and found the SOS clinic in London. And after lots of kind of umming and ahhing about whether or not to go down that road, I thought, I'm going to give it a try. It's quite an intensive program. I'm sure you know all about it. And it's kind of physio based.
I do, yeah, but maybe you wanna explain. I explain it as a boot camp style. But
yeah, it is a boot camp style, isn't it? And they tend to have a lot of teenagers, I guess, diagnosed in their teens, which most people are diagnosed at that time. Whereas, for me, I was in my 40s before I got this like formal diagnosis, even though I kind of knew about it in my 20s. So yeah, and I did it slightly differently. I didn't join one of their 4-week programs because I was working and I couldn't take that much time off work. So I did it slightly differently. I went in for 3 days intensively, and then I came away and practiced for a couple of weeks, and then I went back for another 3 days intensively. And it was really intensive, and it was really, really hard. But the reason that they do it like that is they're trying to train your muscle memory so that you hold on to that memory so that you can practice exercises at home. And it's a daily practice up to half an hour every day. And they use the wall bars, and they use props. So they'll use like poles, and you'll try to get that elongation through the spine. And it's lots of elongation, the breathing, the corrections, which is what I've found with a lot of different practices that I've tried actually.
It's basically the Shroth exercises. I think they are not allowed to call it that, is it?
Yeah.
But I think that's what it is.
I think there's definitely some similarities. Yeah. But I just found that for me it was probably a bit too it was a bit intense.
Right.
And I think, you know, going back day after day and just working the same muscles again, it was really, really hard work on the body. And I can remember walking away after day one, visibly like shaking, and just walking to the cafe and sitting down and thinking, I just need some cake. I need something to get some sugar into me, and I just need to like get some strength back. How am I going to get home? Because I was just wobbling. It was really intense, but there's definitely some really good practices in there. I did really like the way that it kind of made you think about posture and, you know, correcting and the elongation and the breathing. It was a good foundation for that. And then after that, I found people again kind of in other countries. I didn't really find that there was too much in the UK when I was looking, and I wanted it to be Pilates based because I'd always, you know,
that's what you knew. Yes.
Yeah. And I have a real passion for Pilates, and I found a couple of different kind of schools of thought really in America, and I had a couple of one-to-ones with oh my goodness, her name's completely gone out of my head. Spiral Spine.
Oh, Erin Myers.
Erin, yes.
Yeah.
I really loved Erin. I thought she was so bubbly, and she just got my pain instantly. And I can remember coming off my first one-to-one Zoom with her and just saying to my husband, I just found somebody that just gets me. She just gets it. And, you know, when I was talking to her about what pain I had that day, she knew, and she knew what stretch to go to, and she knew, and I just found her really great for that. So yeah, I really enjoyed working with her for a few sessions. And then I also found Karina. Karina Thek with Scolio Pilates. And I actually I've done a couple of modules of training through her program. And I'm still working with one of the teachers. So she's based in Germany, and we do Zooms together, and she really helps me to you know, work through the exercises specific to my spine and to what I need. So yeah, and I find those exercises really great. And I know I've mentioned it to you before we got together, but I've just had a recent x-ray. So I had an x-ray last Monday, and I've been practicing these exercises for over a year now, and probably not as often as I should. But I've had a reduction in my cob angle, and quite a decent reduction in my cob angle. So I feel really positive that, you know, I'm going in the right direction. So yeah, my goal is to stay away from surgery for as long as I can. And obviously, if I really do have to go down that road, then I will go down that road. But the older I get, the more risky it's going to be, and the more difficult it's going to be, because the bones are set, and then you start thinking about bone density as you get towards sort of midlife and all that fun stuff. So yeah.
Yes. Let me just acknowledge Glynis is here in the chat. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. So she is saying her cob angle was 75 degrees. So
okay.
And I never know which parts of my upper spine I should be stretching and or strengthening. I have a large left lumbar curve, rib hump. I'm 62 and was diagnosed at 22. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this of like stretching and strengthening? Which parts? What are you doing with what side?
Well, I found that stretching for me is a no. If I overstretch, it causes me a lot of pain, and so I'm now under the care of the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital, and I had some physio sessions through them. And the last time that I went and saw the physio there, he actually held me in a stretch. I was lying on my side, I was propped up under my waist, and I took my right arm over my head, so with a view to stretching out the concavity.
Yes.
So getting stretch into the right hand side. And he had me holding that stretch for too long. I think maybe if I'd held it for 20 seconds, it might have been okay, but I was probably in that stretch for over a minute, maybe a couple of minutes. And when I came out of it, I had a spasm in my back, and it was really awful, really awful. And then he tried to correct it by pulling like my hip or something. I can't even remember what he did, but he did something to try and help with that. And I just thought, no, this isn't right for me. And I was even working with Julie from Scoliosis Pilates last week, and she had me try a stretch, and I think we held it for like maybe 20-30 seconds, and I said, actually, I can really feel that pulling, Julie. And she said, okay, we're not going to do any more stretching, let's do something else. And straight away she knows that that's not the right thing for me, and we need to build up to it. So long stretches, long holds for me are not good. Not to say that that's the same for everybody, but for me and my body and my curve, it doesn't work. And strengthening, again, I don't know that the kind of working one-sided, I think everybody's going to have different views and opinions. So for me, I kind of, through my classes and through the way I teach, I'm working the whole body and I'm working both sides. And then when I'm working on my own body and with my own curves, I'm focusing probably more on elongation, so finding length and making corrections, so trying to bring my spine into a more neutral alignment, and the breathing, so trying to breathe into the concavities, in the lumbar and in the thoracic, and really hard to obviously try and breathe into the lumbar because your lungs are not down there. So that's probably more my focus is on the on the way I'm holding myself. So I really notice that I lean to the left and I really sink into my curves. So I'm always trying to stand in a corrected position, and that's probably more where I that's probably more how I work at the moment, rather than strengthening a particular side or and I work the whole body when it comes to strengthening.
I always remember what so how Karina Tech put it one time to me, and I really that really resonated with me. She was like, because we were talking about this topic, because it always comes up, which one is the weak side, which one is the strong side. Well, they're both weak in a way, so they're both or both strong, right? They both benefit from strengthening at the end of the day, and they both benefit from releasing. And she put it in this way that we are strong in our curve, and that is so true, right? So whenever I feel this, when I do something difficult, challenging, I'll be in my curve. I'll be in my curve pattern. So our job at the end of the day is to find the maximum of alignment that we can, and come out of the scoliosis pattern and postural correction as much as we can. We cannot change the bones at the end of the day. And then strengthen, right? And then so that's, and it sounds like that's kind of a similar approach to what you're saying as well. So it's not so much doing things one-sided, but you might do them slightly differently on one side than the other.
And I think, when I'm teaching a group class, I can't always apply my own corrections to my own body, because I'm not there for me, I'm there for my class. But when I'm practicing on my own, I might do a shoulder bridge in a completely different way, and really think about how I'm lifting up through the spine, and thinking about trying to keep the level hips, and rather than dropping down on one side. So it's different for me when I work for myself versus what I'm doing as a Pilates teacher. So and I don't run classes for like at the moment, I'm not running classes specifically for people with scoliosis or with spinal fusions. I'm just running classes in my local community, and so actually do have a couple of people that do, because it's more common than you realise, right? So and I spot things sometimes, and I can see when people are rolling down, I can see that one shoulder's higher than the other. So then I always have a little chat with my clients to sort of see if they know about this. But it's we've all got something going on, haven't we?
Absolutely. And there's we are not symmetrical. You know, we've got one heart which is a little bit over to the left. You know, we don't have two of each. We've got one stomach, obviously. So already the internal organs are asymmetric. One side of the lungs is bigger than the other. So yeah, there's always going to be some imbalances, but obviously with scoliosis, you know, over 11 degrees, it just becomes amplified and it becomes magnified, of course. So it just becomes a little bit more challenging, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Good. So would you have, so obviously, I mean, I know the word scoliosis was probably mentioned, but it sounds like you kind of forgot about it throughout your 30s and for a long time, and then it kind of came back when you were in your 40s. So do you have any advice for anyone who's maybe just been, who's not a child, who's not an adolescent, who's an adult, maybe later on in life, and just got the diagnosis?
I think try to find out all you can about it. So it's really hard, isn't it? Because I think in the UK as well, with the NHS, and you know, so underfunded, and I think it's really hard to kind of get the right support, actually. And I, you know, I had that experience myself with the GP where, you know, the only thing I was really offered was a pain clinic, which isn't what I wanted, really. I just wanted somebody to help me understand. So for me, it was kind of looking for that, just looking for the support and somebody who could help me to understand, and then I could take it from there. So I'd say just do reach out on, I found Instagram and Facebook to be really great. It's just for finding a community out there. I also kind of, so when we went to that event in Hyde Park a few weeks ago, I was actually quite emotional, kind of being with other people who are at various stages. Either they've had their spine, you know, they've had their spine fused, or I know there were like 4 of us that had scoliosis. A lot of people had the fusion, I think, but yeah, it's kind of finding your tribe, isn't it? Finding other people who can support you and just make you feel like you're not alone. So that's kind of my advice, would be reach out to other people. So people like you. And, you know, I'd always be happy to, you know, when I've had people respond to posts that I've put on Instagram or Facebook, I'll always take the time and effort to go back to them and make them feel like, you know, that they're part of a community. So and yeah, just finding out as much as you can about scoliosis and what you can do to help yourself, working with somebody that really understands it. So you know, it took me a while to find those people, but I do think it's easier to find that now. And I think that what you're doing is you know, great resource, and you've got all these different videos and all these interviews that people can watch back with different specialists who do different things. And so yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. So how can people connect with you? You mentioned obviously Instagram. Is that kind of the best way to?
So I've got a website, My Pilates Tribe, or on Instagram I'm My Pilates Tribe GU15, so that's postcode around here.
Right. Okay.
On Facebook, Facebook, it's just My Pilates Tribe. So I'd love to connect with new people, and you know, let's just keep building this community and be there to support each other, really. So it's not always a bright sunny day where you're feeling, yay, I've got an 8% reduction in my cob angle, and it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna just get through this and it'll be all right. You know, it's not always like that. So
yes, and it is kind of it is an up and down a little bit, isn't it? I mean, we don't all have just amazing days. There will be days.
I can't tell you actually how nervous I was about that appointment last Monday, and I don't think I'd realised how much I'd built it up in my head, because I had a really bad over Easter this year. So in April this year, I had a really bad flare up, the worst I've ever had, and I was in so much pain and I was really uncomfortable, and I thought, that's it, the curves got worse, I'm going to have surgery. When I have that appointment, it's just absolutely going to be like, right, you need to make a decision. And I went into that appointment and I really thought I was going to have to make a decision. And actually, when the x-ray came up and it was like, oh, it's 8 degrees reduction, I felt like I'd won the lottery. I kind of walked out. I couldn't believe it. When I walked out of that room, I thought, I'm actually doing the right thing here to help myself. So, you know, I move every day. Obviously, I teach Pilates, but that doesn't mean I do Pilates for like 2 hours a day.
No.
But I move every day. I walk for as far as I can. So that maxes out about an hour, but a couple of times a day, I walk the dog. And I try to, you know, look after my body and what I eat and all that kind of good stuff, and keep hydrated. Just doing the best you can to, you know, help yourself, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is such an important point, right? It's not just about, you know, whatever those exercises that you do every day. You know, it's the whole body, right? And the whole being, right? And
the mental side of it as well. Yeah,
exactly. Now when I said this, I was like, no, it's more than that. You know, it's our whole being, really. And yes, absolutely, the mental side is such an important factor. And I think fear is such an important factor, and it can affect us physically as well, right? Just the fear of the future and what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you so much for your time. I put on all the links in the description as always. So people can connect with you as well. Anything else you want to share? Anything else?
No, I just wanted to kind of share my story, and I suppose, you know, it's just good to hear another story in here.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We love that. We love that. We love hearing all the different stories. And Glynis was in the chat as well. She's saying never had any help apart from massages, which I paid for, of course. Was told to do yoga by a specialist in Birmingham. That is amazing, actually, because usually it's Pilates that is recommended because they know more about it, I think. But I think it does all become a little bit more. I think the specialists they realize, you know, that it's important to give options where people can do something themselves, right? Whatever that might be, you know, it might be Pilates, it might be yoga, it might be other movements, but just being proactive, right?
Yeah, I think so. And yes, massage. I do have massage every month as well. So yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to everyone who's been in the chat. Obviously, as I mentioned, next week I'm going to do a live practice. So if you want to join me for that, you can absolutely do that. And thank you so much. And I know you need to go, Helen. So thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Christine.